Some movies are very immersive, make you want to be quiet. After watching the disaster I'm going to share today, the adventure movie is called 110 Days at Sea. The film should be retied from the mountain windows driven by citizens. His family couldn't talk. This is just a normal price. While a few people were sleeping, a great wave suddenly rose from the sea. The trimaran couldn't stand such a big wave. It's the other way around. If it's not a catamaran, maybe they don't even have a chance to turn it upside down, those that come and those that go, but several were trapped in bed. The sudden disaster frightened the conclusion. Except for the hero, the other three had little sailing experience. Now what do? Just grab what you can. The old one's name is Philosophy. He was most afraid, maybe it's because of old age, also afraid of death compared to Set. The other two were at peace with Jim at once. The calmest of them all is our hero John. As a captain, if everything goes wrong, that's it, and now computers don't work for a lot of things. There's no way to navigate, they could only drift along the waves. But there is plenty of water on the bed. It shouldn't be a big deal. On the fourth day, the hero made a cut on the form. You need to send a signal with a semaphore. I hope someone can see the picture turn back to the days when they were at sea. Except for the hero, everyone has their own family. The rare price may be at sea. Because his wife had an accident while she was flying with you. Passed away. What impresses me most is how grumpy travelers become like this. And for a reason. But this voyage was all they expected. The hero wants to reach his destination as soon as possible before the weather changes. But the weather changed and the male protagonist did not change direction. It went on towards the storm. He thought he could get there faster with the wind. To tell the truth, this is really crazy. At least normal people wouldn't dare. As you get closer to the octave area, everybody was getting very nervous. No one knew whether the swaying hull would break up in a great wave. Because he had little experience at sea, it was very scary. I wanted to borrow the radio for help. But the man's radio is short range. And without a license plate, so there's no transmission. Isn't this a scam? The storm grew stronger during the night. They set fire to the bedroom, but the bad stuff didn't end there. Everyone was scared. The hero says that everything will be okay tomorrow. It is delightful to wait till tomorrow to return to the beginning of the temple. They were just turned over. And for the convenience of getting out, at once a large opening was made in the hull. Although the male protagonists seem very distressed, but first there are a few people here. You do need to go outside. Otherwise, it's very easy to get really depressed in here and really go crazy when you suppress it for too long. But after going out, it didn't bring much matter to everyone. For on the sea, they have far more problems to face than they think. At the end of a hopeful signal. Because the battery went out. Not in the night, their ship will never be found at sea. Now they need to make use of everything they can. The man found plenty of food under the bed. But food is limited. So they need to control the amount. The male protagonist is drunk. At once the temper was very angry. When something like this happens, no one wants to be so irritable. It doesn't solve the problem at all. They were stranded at sea for 20 days. The parents finally realized that something was wrong, is to know that the men's bed no license plate, so the radio is this far away, there is no way to get in touch, but you can't leave them alone. So they started asking for help. But they cannot determine the male hero. Their position is often cornered. There's more than one bad thing. I still remember that the male protagonist said that there were a lot of water units leaking on the form. And for the people trapped here, added a sense of sadness. We all know we can live for days without food. But instead of drinking water, not for long at all. Seawater is not treated with special equipment, you can't drink it. Of course, I'm not stupid enough to drink seawater. Because there is no water, several men were in despair, and immediately go crazy. He vented his anger on the most useless-looking old man. The old man gloomily went down to the sea to make rice, but he didn't come up for a long time. Said at once that they were coming down, we'll have more supplies, but this obviously follows, it makes no difference, at last he was brought up at once. The hero later learns that, because of terminal illness and personality problems, if something gets out of hand, it will make you furious at once. He always needs a cathartic opening. It's been 30 days since the men were trapped at sea. I haven't heard anything for a month. They are very worried that they need to search the mail master. Several people may still be on the route. Is sent out a search and rescue team. But you can't find it in the wrong direction. What's more, the men themselves do not know where they are now. The hero takes out the map, when he judged that he had been trapped for 34 days. They should get off the map. There are two possibilities. One is to end up in South America. Because there's nothing along the way, but it will take at least 8 months. The other is that the current takes them north along the road, and they have to travel at least $100 billion. Either way, it's so desperate, mainly because there is no water, they don't know if they can stay here that long without enough time. If there's another storm, it's really time to play. It was a bit of a crash. Like the bad things we said earlier. It's not just grandma's lost fish tank. I've lost props before. These things are very important here. They can go without food. But without a bathtub, and a lot of things that really can't be done. Knowing it at once, he swore angrily, so old. There is no food now, without a pacifier, knowing that this is not going to work, so he drew a simple water storage system. So in one gear, at least they can store water. The old dragon said, let's get a tank on the surface of the hull, he is obviously an expert on the subject. Not a useless fat pig, as Lurik said. Though trapped here. But you still need the confidence to survive. When I put one on the outside, I found a boat. All three of them were very excited. Get ready to signal for help. The savior is very calm. Why is he so calm? It's not that he doesn't want to ask for help, it's that he knows the distance to the front door, it's impossible to see. But the ship's presence here is at least a good sign. They are where the people are and they don't know why the farm is there. 42 days had passed since the men had disappeared. Can you survive this long at sea? No one knows, but felt that the collection team had given up, because they thought it was impossible for anyone to survive. And if I have to collect it, their families had to pay for an hour of search and rescue at their own expense. At least $15,000 is needed, it's very, very expensive. So there's no way to search for long. Over time, and the water was gone, I did one thing, and I didn't know what to do. If we go on like this, they're really going to die here. Maybe God doesn't want them to die here. It rained heavily during the night. The long rain let several people are happy to cheer up. Now whether it's food or whoever, can be a huge boost to their morale. The old wolf also found that a fish broke into the cabin. They made a net to catch fish. It's been a long time since I last ate. For a long time, no more stuffing. A single fish would put them at ease. Without their desire to make it. If a few people don't work together, maybe they recruit 20. Here, even if you kill it twice it's going to be bad. Over time, they can eat more and more food. All kinds of fish are still early, but not forever splatter blood. Right away, we can take the gas canisters out of the bed. The use of men actually do not want to destroy the hull. And he thought it was dangerous to take out his gas canister. But people can't stand eating raw food when they're cold. Finally the hero compromised, they attached a tube to it. Ken had a long time to see the dormitory let several people linger. But Rick's temper was still as bad as ever. Ken say, he had bitten all three of them from start to finish, but they knew that no one said anything. Several people have added albatrosses to their recipes. Though the road ahead is unknown. But as long as they insist, maybe I'll make it back alive. As for this matter, their families prepared for one last search. If I still can't find them, I'm ready to give up. Because really no one can survive on the sea for so long. Now the time has passed, 115 days. They were glad the weather had been good. No matter who in 15 they have. Or a few men want to live. It's almost impossible, the relationship is getting better and better. Although some men saw some boats during the night. But he didn't tell anyone. He didn't hide it on purpose. It's that he knows the distance. They can't hear you, can't you see him? Maybe and burn the ships, get their attention. It's a risk he doesn't want to make, don't want to let others down. It was 118 days when he went out to go to the bathroom. And saw something that shocked him. For there seems to be an island, I'm not sure I did it at first. Fong climbed up to see, finally the confirmation is really do not know why my heart is filled with the same joy as them. Nansui didn't know how to describe how she felt at this time. With a sigh of joy and disappointment. All sorts of emotions mixed together anyway, unlike other people. The other three want to get their lives back. But the hero can't, that's probably his life. Riverbed Fashi's report, a few are still wondering, where the hell is this land? Is that the South American side? How far did they go? No one knows, but it's written in the men's diary. Now all that's left is a safe landing. Because the water near the shore is very cohesive. And the school also has sharks which are very dangerous. Ran on a few people smoothly. Particle size 110 days, a few survived. When I first set foot on land, the long-lost sense of familiarity moved everyone. The bed that accompanied them for 110 days also said goodbye. They just let it. What I didn't think of was, this land is familiar with plant harvesting. I didn't think there was a house. But they know, after 109 days, when we finally come to the Great Barrier Island, it was a longer trip than they had originally intended. Get their news here. The police found it hard to believe that all four of them were alive, or that they couldn't believe that it was an individual going that far. But even when I call my family, this is really moving. Can you imagine, when I give up looking? The joy of your sudden appearance is beyond words. At last they all came back, but they did not believe that the men had spent 110 days at sea. In the beginning, they didn't find the man's diary of their voyage. So I don't really believe it, not even believing they could survive. Because it's all a lie. But the hero doesn't want to explain, I'm just talking about my own experience. When someone finds the men's ship, found that the above things really as men said to do just know. Turns out they really did survive at sea. 110 days and 8 months later he died immediately. Dying of cancer, the old man went on to the sea. And then after that, they never saw the film again. It's the most authentic marine survival shop I've ever seen. Many films overdo the disaster scene. Let a person forget. In fact, before I stand in front of you, we're just ordinary wolves, and we have all kinds of problems. This is a man of different personalities growing up together, to be human in the midst of war. That in itself is a moving thing. But unfortunately, this kind of love did not go to the last sentence of the film as melancholy. It's a great shop, I recommend you go to see it. That's all for this video. See you next time.